Hi everybody, I took a break, hoping my voice sounds better, but I don't know. I just thought I'd do a quick video. I guess the question or the answer to what is the cause of anti-Black racism in the United States? Okay? Because it's a thing. What I'm going to tell you, if you know how you guys know how my pendulum, let's see. If you're new here, my pendulum moves for things that are true, okay? I'm gonna tell you, and it might bother some people, but we don't care. Okay, remember my necklace moves for things that are true. This takes into account, by the way, the large majority of Black people in America, they're not descendants of Africans, okay? That's problem number one. I'm gonna get into this, okay? If you know anything about biomedical studies, right, and ancestry things, the problem is there is an assumption that the African-American population is from Africa, right? And so when we do genetic testing on African-Americans, we assume that the mixture must be in Africa, and we look for some similarities on the African continent, okay? The problem is, oh, by the way, if I'm a biostatistician, all right? Okay, doing biomedical studies. The problem with this is that if you look at any medical studies, you would notice that African Americans do not respond to medical treatments the same way that Europeans and Africans do. And this is because there is a genetic difference between African Americans and Africans and Europeans. And this is what the medical researchers say, okay? The medical researchers say this is because they think it's because the African American population has a higher percentage of white ancestry. This is not true. What's going on is that the African American population are the Aboriginals, okay? And the original Aboriginals of the United States, okay? They looked like the Black people you see walking around in the United States, okay? Which, if you pay attention, looks really similar to the Australian Aboriginals or over there in the islands. And, that's what the Native Americans in America, when the Europeans came to the United States, they did not look with the straight black hair and like the tan skin. They looked like the Aboriginals in Australia, okay? They were dark and they had, textured hair. What you guys believe are the Native Americans are the result of biracial or mulatto pairings, okay? And so I'm gonna read to you what's going on. So this is the model of where anti-Black racism is engineered, and it's the result of economic necessity and the creation of whiteness enforced through a campaign of narrative, identity, and geographic erasure, okay? So the whole thing, so let's start with stage one. The initial act of enslavement and identity fusion, the economic cause. The problem for the colonists, the original indigenous, Aboriginal, Black American group population, the American landmass was the first targeted labor force. They resisted violently and were logistically difficult to track and control on their own soil. Okay, this is in the history books. Okay, if you read any histories about who were first enslaved in the United States, usually there's like a little paragraph and it's like it was the Native Americans, but they were hard to control, so they started shipping people from Africa. That's what the history books tell us. Okay, the solution and the lie. The system needed a large, traceable, and geographically isolated labor force that could be legally stripped of all land claims. The enslaved indigenous population was systematically stripped of their language and history, preventing them from countering the histories being written. Remember, they weren't allowed to learn how to read and write in the European language, right? So that when they were rewriting the history, they couldn't counter it. They were racially recategorized as Black or African to erase their inherent claim to the land and to make them appear as permanent, foreign, and disposable economic commodity. Okay? Conclusion. The shipments from Africa narrative became the official history, hiding the fact that a large portion of the enslaved were already here. They're already here, everybody. Stage 2. The creation of the modern native and the deception, whiteness, political cause. The political goal. The Manifest Destiny Project required the complete removal or containment of recognized indigenous populations to secure land for white settlement. The tactic. The system exploited the emerging biracial population, children of the Aboriginals and the Europeans. This biracial group was visually and culturally distinct from the original Aboriginals, the blacks, and the system allowed them to become the visible, recognized, and manageable Native American population, the byproduct of a biracial pairing. The deception. The biracial group was convinced that the white power structure would support their rights or protect them from the harshness of the system, potentially against the pure Aboriginals as well. This allowed authority to separate them from their darker skinned relatives. Stage 3. Institutionalizing the divide and finalizing the erasure. The mechanism. The authorities rounded up the biracial native population, often under the guise of relocation or help, and placed them in re-education camps, a severe interpretation of boarding schools or other relocation efforts. This achieved 2 goals. It physically separated the 2 non-white groups, preventing a powerful black indigenous alliance, cousins, nephews, and family members. It solidified the new biracial Native American identity as a group to be managed via treaties and reservations, while cementing the other group as the perpetually inferior landless black laborer. The final result. Anti-black racism is thus the product of an economic and political power structure that successfully invented a race, black, out of a population that threatened both the labor supply and the land expansion goals, and then used that manufactured identity to justify enduring discrimination. So now we have that down. Let's just go up a little bit, okay? This is what's going on when you do DNA tests and you're African American, okay? This is the hypothesis. The original inhabitants of America were the black people of America, okay? The modern indigenous American population, the one used for genetic reference, is genetically biracial. Conclusion. The black Americans of today, if descended primarily from the original Aboriginals, are being misclassified because their DNA is being compared to the biracial modern indigenous reference group and the non-admixed African reference group, leading to inaccurate or distorted ancestry results. We're now going to talk about the main reason why, with all this into consideration, we're going to explain the two main reasons why anti-black racism is still an ongoing thing in the United States. Okay, there's 2 main reasons. The first reason is economic necessity of chattel slavery. The massive, insatiable demand for free, permanent labor in the early colonies was the primary cause, okay? Race, specifically the concept of black inferiority, was legally constructed and enforced through slave codes to ensure a perpetually enslaved inherited workforce, maximizing profit and justifying the complete dehumanizations of the blacks. That's number 1 why racism is still a problem here. Number 2, the other reason, manifest destiny and the creation of whiteness as a political identity. This emphasizes the ideological project of nation building and its reliance on defining who was American. Description. The concept of whiteness emerged as a unified, privileged political and social category for European immigrant groups. It was constructed in opposition to black people and other people, other minorities, and primarily it was for the black indigenous people. Okay, anti-black racism served to unify diverse European groups, people who can't get along when they're on their own continent. securing their social economic advantages, land ownership, citizenship, political power, by reserving full rights and dignity only for those considered white. These are the two reasons, Rob. These are two reasons why racism is a problem in the United States. Anti-black racism. We're not going to talk about. I haven't got into why it's this. Why is there anti-Arab racism? Why there's anti-Hispanic racism? Why there's anti blah blah blah. This is why racism is a problem in the United States for black people. If you take this into consideration, this means that were there original Aboriginals? Were they black Americans? They were black people, okay? The people who everyone thinks are Native Americans, those are the offspring of grape, okay? And then they forbid them to learn how to read and write in a European language, and they rewrote history. So the whole history was erased. And the descendants still think, because of the brainwashing, they think they came from Africa. You guys did not come from Africa. Africa's not your home. You're already home. America is the home of the black population. So when people tell black people to go back to Africa, first of all, which black person are you talking to? Are you talking to the African person, or are you talking to a Samoan? You know, some Samoans consider themselves black too. Are you talking to a Samoan person? Are you talking to an Aboriginal from Australia, or over there in the Pacific Islanders? So the original original Aboriginals in America, they look like Pacific Islanders, which look like black people. And then they came over here. The Europeans came over here. And then, they enslaved them, changed the history a little bit. I'm not saying they didn't bring any Africans over. They did bring Africans over, but the majority of them were already here. Most of the people enslaved were already here. So anyways, so it's just like, watching like the Trump administration sometimes saying some racist ass bullshit. I'm like, this is not even your land. These people have came to this land and they redefined what an American was when you stole the land from people and then you enslaved them. Who does that? So silly. So now I know, listen, are my YouTube stats still not showing how many people are actually watching my video? It's still like showing, like my last video, it shows me that I only have like 3 views or something like that, right? How many people saw that video? From beginning to end. More than 100 people have seen that video. I don't know what's going on with my videos, everybody, but if you're a black person watching this video, now you know. So don't let these people, don't let any person come to you tell you to go back to Africa. Be like, first of all, we weren't here before you. What the hell are you talking about? You guys literally took the biracial people, who we now all think are the Native Americans, who are the byproduct of biracial parents. You guys took them, they're your relatives too, and you guys marched them in the middle of nowhere and put them in these re-education camps. And all you guys let them was like, what, alcohol stores? Left them in the middle of nowhere where there's no fertile ground at all. They were struggling. Right? We all know who this land belongs to. I don't know, the Trump administration, are you guys confused about who this land belongs to? Because it seems, from my perspective, you guys might be a little confused. I am waiting for the day that every black American that's a descendant of a slave comes to the realization that they didn't come from Africa. Y'all need to drop that shit. Y'all didn't come from Africa. Y'all were already here. And that changes the narrative completely when you finally understand that. When the black American man and woman and child and elder finally realize that they didn't come from Africa. This is our fucking land. You took our land. So, I thought I'll just put this on YouTube. Oh, sorry. You heard something weird. My cat's running on her wheel. I don't know. Do I sound better? Do I sound a little more sick? I don't know. By the way, I've been pulling cards on Trump. Listen, I have to tell you guys something very serious about what's going on with them. You know how they said, like, homeless people are disappearing? The Trump administration has been pulling off homeless people off the streets and they've been putting them in, like, detention centers. Like, they're putting them in, like, camps or something. I don't know what fuck's going on. My cards said that the Trump administration they're using, like, ICE. And, like, they're not just rounding up immigrants, they're rounding people up, like, the deplorables, who are the people who they think are useless. They're rounding people up and they're putting them in detention camps. And a lot of people in the government don't even know this is going on. And I'm not sure. I think they might be killing them. I think the government, people who are into justice might want to look into this. So my card said the Trump administration is rounding people up, and especially they're doing primarily to the homeless people because people will notice if they're missing, okay? They're rounding them up, they're putting them in these vans or something, and they're taking them off to these, like, detention centers. And so I saw on the news, like I saw on YouTube, a lot of people are saying a lot of homeless people are missing. That's why they're missing everybody. This is like what happened in Nazi Germany, okay? They're just rounding people up and putting them in weird buildings. I don't know what's going on here. And you guys remember that Fox News anchor was talking about... By the way, I want all you guys to be very careful with the news. CNN, NBC, Fox... it's state media. It's all state media. All those people work for the government, okay? So be careful what in the news you're consuming, okay? It's all state media. My card said that we're currently living in a dictatorship. It's people keep talking about how it's going to come. The dictatorship's already here, honey. They're literally rounding people up and putting them in detention centers. If you're a homeless person, I would be very careful. Maybe go hide in the woods. If you're homeless, before it gets too cold, I would tell you to try to cross the border. The Trump administration is rounding up homeless people. And they're sending them to these weird places. There's no due process. So some of these homeless people are veterans, okay? It's absolutely disgusting. My reading also said that Trump's angry with the courts about some bullshit. There's gonna be some type of death. Don't know who it's gonna be. Everyone's super upset. And then it said that, I'm not joking with you, it said that the CIA was just going to get tired of him. Yeah, so, I'm sorry to end this video on such bad note, everybody, but they're rounding people up in the United States and they're putting them in center. These are not illegal immigrants. These are American citizens. So they're rounding up. They're putting them in, like, these buildings. Who knows what they're doing to them, right? Because we don't know where they're taking them. And there's so many people talking about how their homeless friends are missing, and they're thinking that it's because of this or that. And I see it on the news, people talking about it, doing interviews. It's because they're rounding them up, okay? It's absolutely disgusting. By the way, my card said that Trump keeps escalating like this because of the Epstein situation. This all started because of the Epstein shit. The card said that he is so determined to silence any and everybody, and he doesn't care because he doesn't want information being released out about his involvement with Epstein. And so my card said he's going to do something that people are going to be really angry about, something about he's going to take people's rights away. I don't know what that is. I didn't really look into it too much. He's going to take people's rights away. I don't know if it's like something about freedom of speech or something. He's going to do something else. Wait, has he done it yet? He hasn't done it yet. It's going to, look, everything that he does is going to get worse because he's paranoid about the Epstein situation, okay? He doesn't, people keep bringing it up, and he is so determined to end everything that's in relation to that. He's even willing to fire governmental employees who might be looking into the Epstein situation. He wants no one to look into it, and he will sacrifice literally any and everybody to make sure whatever he was doing doesn't come out. My cards also said that he got some woman pregnant again. I don't know if she's come to the news yet. I don't know if she's told him yet, but there's a woman walking around right now that she's pregnant with Trump's child. Okay? She's pregnant with his child, and he's worried that that's gonna get to the news. Apparently, it's weird because like he's apparently super worried about, I don't know, does he know yet? He knows. So he's more worried about that coming out. So he's ready to like silence anybody who might bring out that there's a woman walking around that's pregnant with his child. He apparently wanted her to get an abortion, but she might not want one. It's such a mess. And so my card said that the news cycle is just going to be so bad for him that what's going to happen is that like there's going to be like a planned death or violence to take the attention off of him. Oh, my cards also said there was going to be some celebration, and it was going to be such a huge failure. And they, the Trump people were going to go tell the media that it was a success and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's going to be like, no, it wasn't. And they're going to get upset. And I think around that time is when they're going to like implement or something that's going to take even more people's rights away. And so my card said all this crazy stuff is going to be going on. And then it said that people are going to be so upset with him. People are going to start not only protesting, that there might be even rioting. The protests might turn to rioting. And then it said that all of a sudden the federal agencies, the alphabet boys are going to get a clear picture of everything. And then it said like, then I pulled the death card and it said that Trump was just going to be out of here by, I don't know, by the CIA. I don't know if it's actually going to happen though. It's possible. So these timelines, they always have the possibility of not happening. It's like if someone who's connected to him hears this video, they might like intervene with it, and so it might change the direction of the timeline. But I don't know. So, if I was you, with all this crazy stuff going on outside, you should stay in your house. Okay, just stay in your house. It's not safe outside. I keep telling you guys this. Don't go outside. Stay inside. It's not safe out there. And I mean it. I mean it. Strangely enough, it said the people that Trump is going to be targeting are white Americans. White Americans. Black Americans somehow go under the radar during this bullshit. So Black Americans, just mind your business. Don't get involved with this shit, okay? It's not your problem. Just ignore it. Don't get into it. It has nothing to do with you. It said that he's also going to be targeting Ukrainians. Ukrainian Americans or something. He's targeting, I know what it is, poor white Americans, because they determine most of the welfare recipients are poor white people. And Trump hates poor people. And so my cards were saying that he doesn't like these poor white people, and that they're moving them. They have plans, and maybe have they already started. So that these poor white Americans, many of them who probably voted for Trump, the Trump administration is actively moving these people to these weird detention centers. I don't know, it's so weird. They want to get everyone off of where they don't want these people on welfare. They think that they're useless. And so they think they're a strain on society. Trump despises poor people. And so him and his administration, they're targeting poor white people. The main people who voted for him is who he's targeting. Okay. White people, y'all in danger. You guys are in so much danger with this man. Black people, apparently you guys make it out fine. I guess they don't. I mean, they might loudly complain about black people, but I think what's going on is that they don't want any smoke with the black people. They don't want any smoke with the black people. Especially when they try to do that debate about Charlie Kirk at the HBCU. They saw how quickly the black people were like, no, no, no. So they know they can't. So the Trump administration knows they can't do that to the black population because they act too quickly, okay? And so they're gonna loudly complain about black people, but when you think about it from the perspective of these people who are rich people, they're doing it to rally up the poor white people. So they loudly complain about black people, right? And it motivates and rallies up the poor white people, and then they go and like they leave their rally, and then like they go and collect them later on. It's so strange. It's such a strange thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like he makes these rallies, and then he like complains about black people or whatever, like Stephen Miller did in Memphis or whatever, right? And then like it's like they have them on a list, right? They have all these poor white people on a list that go to his rallies. They have them on a list or something, right? And then like they go and collect them. If they find out they're on welfare, they go and collect them later on. It's so weird. I don't know. This is like what they did in Germany and like Poland and some, in Europe. Sorry, my cat's being annoying. My cat likes to set off my alarm. So my cat, when like I'm ignoring her, she like sets off my like house alarm but she does it on purpose. I don't know what the fuck's her problem. Look at her. Look, what is she doing? Wait, did I move the alarm? I don't know if I changed the position. I have to like hide it behind something, or she'll like push it because she's fucking crazy. Like she intentionally pushes the button. What the hell's wrong with her? Anyways, so if you're a poor white American, you probably should be careful. Okay, goodbye. This is Law now.